What's up YouTube, Daryl here from Zeph Wargames, and today I'm bringing you Kyron's second place Crusadia Brave profile. Now, after they told me about this getting second place, I was like, whoa, I have to see the list. And he showed me it, and to be fair, there's actually some really cool interactions in there. Yes, it is playing the main kind of counterparts for the meta, but that's what you need to do. His matchups ended up being Flunderees, Sky Striker DPE, also one of them I believe was not Brave Control, Blue Eyes Control, which was really interesting because basically what it does is you use the brand new Tyrant Dragon that just constantly keeps letting you reset Skill Drain and reset Torrential Tribute. So it's like Crusadia's worst matchup because they hate dealing with back row. And then the other one was Earth Machine, and again, we all know that Earth Machine have like a power punch, but then they also have a control aspect as well. So well done to Kyron for getting second place, and I'm going to show you his list and explain everything he's got. I've also added in the upgrades of the cards he didn't have, and that he said that he would play if he had access to them. So, with all of that out of the way, please smash that like button, hit that notification bell, and subscribe so you don't miss out on any more upcoming content. So he was playing triple Crusadia Arborea. It is finally time that Arborea's tuner ability comes into play, and that is very interesting because it does give you a route into Baron going first or second. So very good card. As the same with all of the other Crusadias, which I'll show all in one go, they all have the ability only once per turn to special summon themselves to a zone a link monster points to. So he's playing triple Reclusia alongside triple Leonus, which is an interesting one to me, double Draco and double Maximus. Now, for those of you that don't know what these cards do, I've absolutely love them. They're part of the World Legacy lore, and they all, like I said, they share the same effect to special summon themselves to a zone link monster points to, but they all have additional effects. Now, Arborea has a graveyard effect that you can banish it to protect one of your Crusadians from being destroyed by card effect as a replacement, not an activation, which is really important. And for those of you that don't know what that means, it basically doesn't activate as like a chain link free. So if your opponent went to Raigeki your board, you'd go, okay, fine, banishing Arborea as a replacement. It doesn't then go chain link 1 Raigeki, chain link 2 Arborea, which is really important. Reclusia, I believe it lets you pop one card, or is it one... if it's normal or special to a zone link monster points, so you target a Crusadia card you control, and one card your opponent controls, and you destroy both of them. Leonus gives your link monster that it points to, or the link monster that points to it, piercing damage. Draco lets you add back a Crusadia from the graveyard to the hand, and Maximus lets you do double damage. So the idea is that these are the last two you want to be put into your link monster zones, because when you look at Equimax, which is the main boss monster, it gains attack equal to everything it points to, and stuff it points to can't attack. So the idea is it becomes an absolute boss monster, and then Maximus lets it do double damage, and Leonus lets it do piercing. But these are all just free summons to the board. They can go to zones that Dagda points to, they can go to zones that Verte points to, and you're basically then just building up your board as and when you see fit. As an honorary Crusadia monster as well, double parallel XZs. Now, there are no XYZs in the extra deck for this particular card, but the idea is that when you link summon a monster, you can trigger parallel in the hand. That then gives you 2 free bodies on the board that again allows you to start getting access to your extra deck and lets you start getting access to your link monsters that you need to extend your plays or to get you into your meta engines. When we go through the extra deck, you'll see that there is at least one extra deck monster that will get you to at least one of the main engines within the deck, whether that be Crusadia, whether that be Brave, DPE, Artifact, you name it, you've got access to it. So that's it for the core of the deck. These are the main monsters that you want to be playing around with. But then because we're in a heavy hand trap matchup or heavy hand trap format, you need to balance them out. So we've got 2 Ash Blossoms, or he's got 2 Ash Blossoms with 2 Gammas and a Driver, which was very interesting to me. I was like, that's a bit weird. That's like OCG land right there. And he kind of said it just worked out perfectly because you don't have a huge amount of cards you want to protect with Gamma, but it's one of the ones that when you get to it, great. If you've already used it, I suppose the reason of only having 2 and a 1 is that you've then got 1 less brick in the deck. That brick then becomes, or the one copy that is technically a brick, becomes a free summon off of Halifibrax, and that can then extend your plays further and can also help you make your synchro plays as well. On top of that, drop in a Gamma to protect from a Lancia, or drop in a Gamma because you're playing so many different engines. The Gamma can protect you from so much that it lets all of your engines go off. And once one engine goes off, the rest then follow. So very, very kind of cool card. I'm surprised it isn't at free, in my opinion, like the free Gamma. But if it worked for him, then fair play. Next one, double Gadala. Now, obviously, this is for Flunders because Flunders are just going to be pumping out the wind barrier statues. You have to have a Kaiju that can out that board, and especially with a Crusadia deck that basically just wants to all the time special summon, you need to be able to do that on a consistent basis. So the Kaiju, not only does Kaiju help you in all of your matchups because you want to be ideally going second during game one, it then gives you plays from there. The best thing about this particular build as well, and I'll show you these now because they are technically like hand traps and lockout traps, is by playing a small artifact engine, it gives you the ability of going first and second. So this 5-card engine straight away, if your opponent makes you go first, this 5-card engine leads you to probably one of the better hand traps against the main meta this format, alongside the best floodgate, I suppose, of this format. And then when you're comboing that off with Ignition, not only are you able to kind of deal with your opponent's back row, there's also the clause, if your opponent destroys this, they skip their next battle phase. And off the back of that, it just gives you easier and quicker access to either Lancia or Scythe that can then be DPE'd and looped around that way. There is, of course, the Halifibrax into TG Wonder Magician, with TG Wonder Magician plus Scythe or Lancia going into Baron as well. Then the other engines, of course, as we are trying to compete, is a very small a very small Brave package. And what I mean by that is he's cut the right by 2 and he's cut the War Enchantress to 1. So the idea is that you're only ever going to resolve this once. I can imagine it gets a little bit iffy, but he is playing Cherubini in the extra deck to get to this quicker, which I can understand why this is cut to 2. The right is a little bit interesting being cut to 1, but again, if it's worked for him, then whether that works all the time or just at this event, it does the job. Of course, you've got the Destiny Hero engine, DPE, do what you need to do. This engine's so good because one thing that Crusadia slightly lacked, and because you're playing so many power play engines, the draw 2 off of this, rather than the draw 1, which is like, okay, this might get me where I need to go, the draw 2 will near enough guarantee to get you where you need to go to end the board. He has all of this, but somehow doesn't have droplets. But in place of droplets, he has got 2 Forbidden Chalice, alongside 2 Triple Tactic Talents and the 1 Reinforce of the Army. I think the Triple Tactics is a really good card right now because a lot of people aren't expecting it. And what I mean by that is 9 times out of 10, you're going to activate DPE. The higher level players are probably going to activate DPE during the standby phase. But if they've not really got Scythe to try and trigger, they're going to hold that back. And then that's when they'll go activate it. You go, sure, fine. Or you Chalice or anything like that. And then you go Talents and start stealing their stuff, drawing the cards you need. Because like I said, with the Crusadias, once you're able to get into a Link monster, as long as they are not destroying that Link monster by something like Blackout or a Ghost Ogre, you're able to just constantly keep special summoning to the board and then Link climb. So if you went Talents to draw 2, as long as you're then able to get into a Link monster, you can just go, okay, special summon a Crusadia, activate the effect, Ash Blossom. Okay, fine. Go into a Link 2, gives you 2 Link zones. Special summon a Parallel Disease, or special summon an Arborea, a Leonus, a Maximus. You just keep going and going and going and going, and you're either going to be building up into an insane Link 4 of Access Code or Avramax, or you're going to be building up to multiple Link 2s that are going to give you instant access. Now, straight away, when you go back to the Crusadias, you actually look at the monsters they can special summon to the board. They've actually got 3, I believe it's 3 or 2. No, 3. Where are you? 3 level 3s, so Arborea, Reclesia, and Leonus. They could be special summoned to a zone and Link monster points to. So straight away, if you were able to get into Dagda, for example, you could then go, okay, cool. Special summon Arborea, special summon Leonus, and then straight away, this can then give you, as they're both level 3s, access into Cherubini. Cherubini, of course, will then set you up your Brave package. So if your opponent goes, right, okay, well, I'm going to Nibiru you here because you're going to go into a Verte or you're going to go into a 2-negate Appaloosa, you've still got the Brave package. And the Brave package, even if you're not using it as an Omni-negate, can then start climbing up again because you just go, okay, turn the token into Link Spider, special summon down Arborea, obviously if you didn't do it the turn before that. Special summon down Arborea plus Griffin Rider goes into Baron. You've unlocked the Link Zone of Link Spider again, and then you keep special summoning down from there. You go into Verte. So you're able to then play through a Nibiru, which used to be one of the biggest board breakers for this deck as well. Not to mention that you still then have access to Vertes, you still have access to your other boss monsters, which are basically saying, you know, come and get me. You're easily made by spamming monsters to the board. Speaking of the extra deck, let's go from non-links all the way up to the highest links. So, of course, you've got the Baron de Fleur. If you don't have access to this, he was playing Crystal Wing and Formula Synchron. So that does give you another option as well. And the idea behind this is you've got TG Wonder Magician. So as long as you summon down Arborea, you can go Arborea plus anything else, gives you into Halifibrax. During your opponent's turn, you banish out the Halifibrax, you summon out a TG Wonder Magician. This will then trigger its effect to pop one of your spell and trap, which ideally would have been a set Scythe. You summon out the Scythe, you then activate the TG Wonder Magician's effect to synchro with itself and the Scythe, and you go into a Baron. So straight away, you set yourself up with a very nice Omni Negate, and you've locked your opponent out of the extra deck. So from that point on, as long as that route is successful, you should win the duel. The only other card that is not a Link monster is, of course, DPE. It's one of these ones where it's just so powerful. Now, you can go for a Dragoon if you don't have access to DPE, even though they're practically the same price. And when Branded Fusion comes out, I mean, I don't know how much you're going to do, because this day is very Link focused, and being able to play Branded Fusion as the last card you play isn't really going to get you much. It might get you the Mirror Jade, which is your best form of interruption, but I still feel even at Fusion Destiny at 1, you're still going to go for this guy. For the Link monsters, of course, for the Link ones, we'll start off with the Link Spider, and then you move into your Crusadias, which of course will be double Magius. So when a monster is special summoned to a zone this points to, it lets you add a Crusadia from your deck to the hand. So straight away, all you've got to do is get a Crusadia to the board, link someone into Magius, special summon to a zone this card points to, trigger the effect. It could be a Chain Link 1, Chain Link 2 to chain block it as well, which is great. Add an Arborea, and if you by adding the Arborea, that then gives you access to go. So use the monster plus Magius and go into Dagda. You can special summon down the Arborea, then get another Crusadia to the board, and then that gives you Halifibrax plays, that can then unlock you Cherubini plays. Like, it gives you a lot to move around with. For the other Link 2s, we are power. Of course, he's playing the Power 2s. And what I mean by that is these are all the Link 2s that came out. I believe it's called Dual Overload. Not Dual Overload. Was it Link Vrains? I think it's like the Link Vrains pack back in the day. Like, these 4 were all present in it. And basically, these are like the Hyper Link 2s. And what I mean by that is, obviously, access into your Artifact engine, access to your Brave engine, access to your Fusion Destiny engine, and then access to your Baron engine as well. So all of these are insane, and the fact that this deck can pump out all of these consistently is absolutely unreal. And then on top of that, you just go, I've got an IP Masquerena, because if you've opened up Fusion Destiny, you don't need Verte. If you open up the Brave package, you don't need Cherubini. And if you've opened up Scythe, you don't need Dagda. So you cut out those 3 straight away, and then you go, right, okay, well, I've got other options now of being IP Masquerena that can lead me into a Unicorn or an Appaloosa. Then, of course, you've got Axis Code. This is a Link-heavy deck. Keep in mind, though, that your Magius is a light, so is your Dagda. But you've also got a Water of Halifibrax, you've got a Dark of Verte or Cherubini, or, of course, IP as well. So by the time you've linked into that, you're probably going to get 2 pops, maybe 3 if you use Link Spider. And this can easily be an Avramax if you don't have it. The final card is, of course, your Mac Daddy boss monster. This is Equimax. The amount of people that do not expect this card is unreal. Keeping in mind that it gains attack equal to everything it points to, which is why you want to give them a Kaiju in front of your Link Zone. Because when you summon down Equimax, it gains the attack of that Kaiju. It will then gain the attack of whatever gets pointed to it. It has an additional effect that it can tribute off one of the cards it points to on your side of the field to negate a card effect. So it just gives you a bit of everything you need. And it's one of them ones that if you end up going to Equimax, you've got 2 monsters in there, but you're not able to see the game off. Those 2 monsters that it points to can then be linked off to make your Verte, your Halifibrax, your Dagda, anything like that, that will then lead you into your additional plays of going Scythe or your Halifibrax plays or anything like that. And that's it for his profile. So massive shout out to Kyron again. Well done taking 2nd place. Like I said, his matchups were, and I'll repeat these again, it was Flunderies, which was the loss. He just couldn't get past the barrier statue, which meant that he just basically couldn't get to the Kaiju in time. He was playing Blue Eyes Trap Control. He played against Striker, DPE in the last round, and then he also played against Earth Machines. So obviously it's not the top tier meta, but what I love about these engines, and more so the Brave than anything else, is the Brave actually has a lot of synergy with this deck, and it lets you play this deck and make it more relevant, more consistent, gives it a go in first play, go in second play, and protection from its biggest weakness of Nibiru as well. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share. Again, massive shout out to Kyron. Well done. Hopefully we'll see some more as well coming from him too. As absolutely always, guys, stay safe. And of course, happy dueling.